what are things that I'd rather watch? I'd rather watch Two Girls, One Cup than watch Brett Coach. Yeah, I brought that back. That's disgusting.
Yeah.
That's disgusting, but I'd rather.
Yeah. Justice for the blind, just something that'll find in the rhymes that are coming from my mind.
Good morning, everybody. This is episode 46 of the 476 podcast. I'm actually on point today. Don't mind me. My allergies are absolutely worse than Brett Brown's coaching right now, which, as you know, means that I'm probably going to die soon, because it would have to be pretty awful to eclipse such horrible coaching. But anyway, before we get to that, a couple sponsors, which is the first time ever. Hopefully I remember to do this. A couple notes, two sponsors and one note. First, shout out to Blueprint Barber Lounge. Damn it, I meant to have the address up here. Blueprint Barber Lounge is ran by my man Izzy. It's a one-man show in there. So if you want to go in, get a true spy-like treatment, one of the sharpest barbers out here. He's the one who blessed me with the ill haircut. Shout out to Nas. That is a Nas lyric. Anyway, give me 1 second. Just pulling up his address. Blueprint Barber Lounge, located on 8121 Roland Avenue in Philadelphia, PA 19136. Find him on Booksy. Has 181 reviews and is at 5. Is a perfect 5, which is something rare. Again, one-on-one treatment. You go in there, grab a beer, have a drink. My man hooks you up with a clean haircut and enjoy the time there. You know what I mean? It's very romantic. You get to watch music videos also. It's a very great time. Anyway, so that's that. Second, the second sponsor, CJ Wendler. Holler at my man TJ for that duct work. You know, if you know what I'm saying. H to VAC, which is HVAC. CJ Wendler, located out, I think he's located in Collegeville. I might be wrong. But anyway, CJ Wendler has that work when it comes to HVAC work. If you need any duct work, or if you're trying to stay cool in the summer, hot in the winter, holler at them on Facebook or their website, cjwendler.com, or Instagram at CJ Wendler. And you can watch him do all types of thug shit to people's HVAC work. And yeah, I'm sure it's not in Collegeville. I'm sure I said it wrong. I might be in Collegeville. I can't remember. But anyway, it doesn't matter. They'll travel. Yeah, that's it. So those are my two sponsors. And then I just wanted to take a quick note. A friend of ours passed away a week ago. And this was someone who was very close to my brother. And if you know me, my brother, he spent some time in the military. When he went away to the military, when he went away to the military, three of his childhood friends kind of looked out for me for some time. You know, we would just kind of be around North Philly, and they are the ones who kind of encouraged me to rap a lot more. You know, we would spend pretty much every day looking for blank tapes and beat CDs, and then going on this dude, Jason, who passed away 4 years ago, rest in peace, almost 4 years ago to the day that I'm recording this. And we would, he had a karaoke machine. This is how we used to record music, on a karaoke machine. We would put a beat CD in and just blank tape and rap on his karaoke machine. So him, Bola, and our friend Mario, who's probably listening to this, shout out to you, Mario. And now, you know, 2 or 4 of them have passed away. Bola passed away last week. Just want to say rest in peace to him before we get into this. So RIP to him, love to his family. And yeah, let's get into this. So last night, round 1, game 1. What a round 1 day, by the way. I mean, that I don't want to spend too much time talking about all the games, but I mean, that fucking Nuggets Jazz game was incredible. I wish I was a fan of one of those teams, because they're well coached. So we lose to the Celtics. Now, no surprise, I actually don't think anyone played poorly, which is kind of surprising. There are some stupid moments. So sometimes I don't know what Al Horford is thinking. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know what he's thinking sometimes. It's okay, though. He played okay, but I just don't know what the fuck he's thinking sometimes. I wish I could see the TV in his brain when he's making decisions. But anyway, we lose, you know, in a game. We lost because the Celtics are better. Okay, let's just be clear. The Celtics are better. Arguably, the Celtics have 4 of the 5 best players in this series. We have the best player in the series, and that's Joel Embiid, a person we can't get the fucking ball to when it matters. He is the best basketball player in this series. And then they have the next 4 best basketball players, arguably, unless you want to argue Toby over Gordon Hayward. Maybe you could. Gordon Hayward is a plus defender, 38% three-point shooter, more consistent offensive player. So you could, or he also has that cop haircut, that cop mustache. So I don't know, maybe he drops a few points for that cop mustache, especially considering that Black Lives Matter and you out here with a Blue Lives Matter face. Fantastic hair though. But I've never seen a person's hair not move. It does, the way his hair starts the game is the way his hair ends the game. It's whatever they're using for their hair. Anyway, probably social justice. So they're a better team. They also have the best coach in the series by far, by leaps and fucking bounds. So we start the game off nice. It's funny. We literally, the first 2 possessions, we actually run some very creative sets. I can't believe it. I'm very surprised by this. As we set a high screen almost with Al and Joe that gets Al at the high post and gets him the ball, who can then make an entry pass, who Joe then sets a screen for Shake Milton's man, and Shake cuts to the weak side, and Joe is all alone on the post, on the block, gets the ball, easy bucket. Very next possession, we run the exact same play, and for some inexplicable reason, Al then fires from across the lane, from the wrong side. So Shake is posted up on the right side of the rim, and Al is on the left side of the high post and fires like a cannon fire at Shake, and it launches it out of bounds. I mean, it's a terrible pass. And the only thing I can assume, because when I saw it, the first thing I thought, now I'm paranoid, and I always think the worst of people sometimes. Well, that doesn't make sense. Always, sometimes, whatever. And when I see that, I'm thinking Al is doing that because Al is like we got to we got to spread the ball around because I want my opportunities and everyone wants their opportunities. No, Al, this is not the time to establish that. Get the ball back to Joe next time. Don't ever do that again. Don't you ever do that again. It was a terrible fucking pass. Al, you know what? Al's going to get some of my ire. Al played okay. 6.7 rebounds, 6 assists. But let's understand, we'll never, especially without Ben, we're never going to be the team that can hold the lead without Joe on the floor. Essentially, we're up. Joe, we're competing at this point. We go up 6. Then Boston is competing at the end of the game. Joe is in foul trouble with a stupid foul on Marcus Smart. There were some bad foul calls on Joe, though. There was one foul that they called on the Kemba Walker drive where it was clearly an offensive foul. Kemba chicken wing Joe's arm to finish a layup. I mean, that's an offensive foul. And they called that a foul on Joe. That's a bad call, but then Joe doesn't help, compounds it with a stupid foul against Marcus Smart. Puts himself into foul trouble. It's tough. The Celtics are going to be doing this constantly. They're going to be trying to put Joe into foul trouble constantly. And there's other things that we're going to talk about this. But Joe comes out the game. We lose the lead. That's pretty much the story of the game. Joe comes back in the game. We then make it interesting-ish for a bit. Not really much hope. I just don't know what I was thinking. Then there's the stupid flagrant foul. Guess what, everyone? I'm sorry. I'm going to rain on your parade real quick. That has been a flagrant foul now for like 20 years. Ever since the Malice in the Palace, they are not going to allow shit like that to happen. And it started as a play on the ball with Al's right hand chopping at the ball, and then it ends as not a play on the ball when Al swings his left arm onto Jalen's arm and then pulls him down. It doesn't matter if you're trying to help. Shout out to Jeff Van Gundy, who made a good observation early. Was it earlier today? I think it was. He said that the officials are not here to police. They're not here to officiate intent. They're not officiating intent. They're not here to decide whether Al is making a play and then trying to hold Jalen up as he's falling. They're not officiating that. It's just the act. It's a fucking stupid play. You got beat. What compounds it and makes it worse is you got beat. He crossed you. You got beat, and then you pulled him down to the ground. Yeah, guess what? That's a flagrant to me. That's a flagrant. I don't give a fuck. We can be Sixers fans. I understand. I want to, fuck you, right? No, but it's a flagrant foul. There's not even a question in my mind. As soon as I saw it happen, I saw that's a flagrant, obviously. And that is essentially what begins the collapse, Al. Thanks. Because it's a flagrant. They then score. There's Jalen, two straight at the free throw line. Very next play, drives on Al. No, who does he drive on? I don't think he drives on. I think he drives on somebody. Gets another foul, maybe on Toby. I don't know. 2 more free throws. That's 4 straight points. So, you know what I mean? And that begins our demise, essentially. They also lose the lead without Tatum in the game. They experience a similar Sixers thing. Now, that doesn't typically happen with the Celtics. Understand that the Celtics get a lot out of their role guys, out of all their guys, because they have so many guys. You know what I mean? They somehow lose the lead without Tatum. Tatum was murdering us at one point. So, they lose the lead without Tatum. Jalen, though, does an excellent job. Understand that. Part of the reason why they lose the lead without Tatum is because they're losing that defense a bit. And it's pretty much just all downhill from there. We did a great job fighting. Other than that, I can't really say anyone played poorly. You know, and Al didn't even play poorly. Understand? He didn't even play poorly. He just had a couple of stupid I don't know what he's thinking plays. You know what I mean? Which he does often. The one play he tried to post up Marcus Smart. Al is washed. He can't post up anybody, especially not Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart is immovable. That man is immovable. He's like, you ever find something on the ground, right? You ever see something on the ground? I don't know how to explain this. It'd be like a little, like an inch out of the ground, like a metal thing. That thing, you can you can get a sledgehammer and sledge away at that thing. It's not going to move out of the fucking ground. It's not going to move. Like if you took a stop sign and cut it down to its base and you just left the base in the ground, that base is not coming out of the ground. You need to find a way to lift it out of the ground. You need to get the jaws of life. You need to go ahead and get the Lord our God, get Thor. You need to get something to get that thing out of the ground. Well, that's Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart is immovable. That person cannot be moved. Okay, he cannot be moved because he's so tiny, but yet so powerful. It's amazing. Well, Al is not going to move him. There was a play where Marcus Smart picked up Joe in the post, and this was Brad Stevens being incredibly intelligent. Well, their team just having a high defensive IQ. Marcus Smart picks up Joe at the high post because they see that the action we're trying to run is to get a switch on Joe come down to the post, and guess what? The switch they got was Daniel Tice on Joe. That's the twist. Now, it doesn't matter because Daniel Tice can't guard Joe anyway. We can't get the ball to Joe, so that didn't matter either, but you see the point. So, again, though, this is one thing that I'm going to give Brett credit for one thing, and I don't know how much Brett had to do with this, but you see these assist numbers from Toby and Al. The problem is that these two assholes are not the best passers in the world and just not consistent. Now, Toby has become has somehow become a better passer over the quarantine. You know what I mean? Maybe he's been meditating for the last 6 months and all of a sudden is seeing angles he couldn't see before because he was a horrid passer pre-quarantine. And now post-quarantine, my man it's not post-quarantine because we're still up in this bitch, but you get it. And Toby is all of a sudden a better passer. Al is a good passer. Yesterday he made some confusing passes. But again, to the point, Shake and Josh are not going to be able to do a lot of facilitating in this game. They're not going to be able to do a lot of facilitating here. But what we did do, this is why I don't think anyone played poorly. And this is what's scary about this game because the Celtics are just better and they're better coached. You know what I mean? And there's a couple things they left on the table, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But we started the game off with 13 turnovers in the first half. Well, the reason why is because they're active hands, okay? And because none of these guys, our IQs just aren't that smart. We're making cross-court passes and bad angles that they're easily picking apart. Why? Well, because none of these dudes have the IQ of real ball handlers and good passers. You know what I mean? We need to find ways to initiate the offense with Joe is what we're going to need to do. Get him in the high post and let him initiate the offense. Run actions that will then set screen and rolls or dribble handoffs that get Joe into a post position and gets him the ball back. We need to do things like that. We need to initiate the offense with Joe. You know what? Let me save my rant for the end here about that. Joe finishes with 26 and 16 and doesn't really do anything at the end of the game, and it's a goddamn shame. It's not that he didn't want to. Shout out to Joe because one, Brett changed the rotation, which actually I thought was good. I'm going to give you that, Brett. I'll give you some credit there. You did a good job with the minutes rotation. Finally, Joe doesn't play the first 6 minutes and then sits, or the first 4 minutes and then sit. Instead, he played the first almost 10 minutes, and then Al would come in for like the next 6 minutes, and there was some more whatever. But at least the point was Joe was getting in. Starting the game now for 8 to 10 minutes, which is great. That's how it should be because he is our fucking superstar, and I want to see that. And 26 and 16, I mean, he was out there. He was hungry. He was out there violent. He played violently, and I loved what I saw from Joe. There is no slander. Joe was continuing exactly what we thought he would do in the bubble. The fourth quarter is an abomination. He was forcing up shots. He finished 1 for 5. One of those was that three-pointer at the end, which was more like a fuck it three-pointer. So I would say it's 1 for 4. But then a lot of those shots again are just is that we can't get him the ball, and now he's forcing up shots that are not in optimal position. Sometimes, you know what I mean? It's just a rough situation. Oh, great! Somebody's alarm is going off. That's the alarm on Brett Brown's hot seat. Josh played well. Now, Toby finished 6 for 15. Let me pull this up real quick while I'm here. I'm sorry. Boo, 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 boo. Toby finished 6 for 15. I actually don't mind how Toby played. You know, again, Toby is a you know, as I've said on here, Toby is you don't want him to be a volume scorer, but that is kind of who he is. I would really like to see him make a three-pointer next game. That would make me happy. 0 for 3, only 1 turnover, though. That makes me happy. That's a good sign. You know, almost a triple-double, 15, 8, and 8. 3 for 3 from free throw. I would also like to see him get more free throws, but it's going to be hard. Look, Toby, the reason why I'm not mad at this Toby game is because he did not force the offense to bend to his will at any time. You know what I mean? He doesn't have the skill set, unfortunately, to score on Jalen and Tatum, on Jalen and Jason, on the double J, on J and J. Gordon Hayward's a plus defender, is going to give Toby issue scoring on him. And if we're not going to run, he had a couple good baskets on Tice. If we're not going to run any type of action that's going to get any switch for Toby to score on Kemba or Tice, it's going to be rough. He could probably score. He can get a bucket on Gordon. Gordon is a plus defender, though, so it's not like a walk in the park. He doesn't have a skill set. He is Carmelo light. Again, he is the poor man's Carmelo, but Carmelo can score on Jason. He can score on Tate, on Jalen. Maybe not now. But probably now too. But the point is, Toby doesn't have what it takes to score on these guys. They're just too good defensively. I mean, these guys cause havoc on defense, man. You saw it. You saw it in the first half. Just active hands, aggressive, quick, athletic, fast, strong, all of it. You know what I mean? All of it. It's like a bunch of different – it's like a bunch of poor man's Kawhis out there. You know, like I hate to make this comparison, but it is – watching them play defense, especially on the perimeter guys, on our guys who are trying to initiate the offense, is very MJ and Scotty. You know what I mean? They don't allow clean lines. They don't allow anything easy to happen. They are constantly just deflecting. They're making it difficult. They a couple plays where they forced our offense to start near half court. You know what I mean? Just they're causing issues, and we're not doing anything game plan wise to force them in a bad position. You know what I mean? So that's I mean that's that 6 for 15. Al 3 for 7. Again, we should have been 3 for 6, but he tried to post up Marcus Smart. You can't post up Marcus Smart. Joel 8 for 15. That's with going 1 for 5 in the fourth quarter, mind you. So that's like 7 for 11 almost and going to fourth. He still had a good game though. 1 for 4 from 3. That was again one of those bad threes. 33% is fine. You know what I mean? For a center, that's fine. You know, Joe played fine. You won't hear any bad words from Joe. Could Joe have done a little bit more? I don't even know what he could have done more, honestly. I don't think there's anything more he could have done. He was aggressive. He was hungry. He was coaching. Foul trouble. I guess, you know, that stupid Marcus Smart foul, I wish we could have that one back. You know, that was just a dumb foul, but that's me nitpicking. Josh played well, 18, 6, and 2, 7 for 17. That's a lot of shots for Josh to take, but he had to. He had to, because if you don't have Jalen or Tatum on you and you're on the perimeter, you got to keep these guys somewhat honest. We know you're not going to score on Tatum or Jalen. You're just moving the ball. You're swinging. You need to swing the ball away from those guys to get the ball into the post. But if you're going to have any of these other guys, you got to keep them honest. So I thought he did a good job. Shake played really, really well. 5 for 7, 13 and 3. I would almost maybe I don't know if I want to see him be more aggressive, because there is a line of diminishing returns, and we don't know exactly what Shake is going to be yet. So, you know, maybe fuck it. I mean, he did take one stupid three-pointer that I'd prefer him not have taken early in the shot clock. Didn't really make much sense. That was in the third quarter when he did that. Matisse 5, 4, and 1. Matisse played fine. Matisse played okay. I got no beef with Matisse. He played well on defense, I thought. Had that really nice block on Tatum. Also poked the ball away from Tatum one play. Was that Tatum? No, that was actually Josh, I think, who poked that ball away. But he did what he could do. He did as well as he could do. Alec Burks, listen, we gotta be very careful with this the Alec thing. I understand. I understand how effective he is. I get it. I get it, guys. I understand. Please, I understand. But we really got to be really careful because again, there is a line of diminishing return. It's on Alec Burks. He finished 6 for 15. That is a little bit dangerous. Now, he was 1 for 3 on 3. He did have a couple baskets that made me happy. Just kind of pressing. We need a basket. He went and got it. That was cool. But 6 for 15. The next thing you're gonna see, you're gonna start seeing 8 for 20 situations out here. And I don't want to see that from Alec. So we really got to be careful. We're relying heavily on that. It's too much Alec right now. It's too much Alec. And too much Alec has never done anything for his career or any team that he's ever played on. You know what I mean? So it's too much Alec right now. I understand that we do need points. Furkan is a non. I mean, Furkan was a non-factor last year. He did nothing. Did he play? I don't even remember. He did nothing. He did nothing. He can't score on these guys. He if you put Marcus Smart eliminates him pretty much as soon as he comes off. He did nothing. Offered nothing on defense, offered nothing on offense. He actually did have one good defensive play. That's a lie. He did have one good defensive play. I can't remember what happened exactly, but he did have one good defensive play. Jumped to Boston. Gordon, 12, 4, and 3, 5 for 13. I'm just going to run these off. Tatum, 32 and 13. He was 10 for 21. I mean, he's just so fucking good. 10 for 11 from the free throw line. Tice was 9, 3, and 3. 1 for 5 from 3. He won't be that bad from 3 all the other times. Jalen, 29, 6 and 4, 9 of 16. I mean, I talked about this 5 for 8 from 3. I talked about this on the last podcast. Jalen will go off. You know what I mean? And he's going to have that opportunity to go off because Al Horford can't guard him. Not many players can guard him. Kemba finished with 19 points, 7 for 16. That's a lot of shooting for Kemba, but that is kind of Kemba's game. He's not going to go 0 for 4 from 3, though. That ain't going to happen again. We're not going to get another one of those situations. Marcus Smart, only 2 points. He typically scores more than that. Enes Kanter didn't play a whole lot. They like going with Robert Williams, who was active as shit, 6 rebounds in 10 minutes. Their bench rebounding really caused an issue for us between Williams and Kanter. Kanter and Williams had 10 rebounds in like 20 minutes. They caused some issues for us. Al just doesn't have what it takes to get up anymore to really fight for rebounds. I mean, Robert Williams' legs, my man has the youngest legs in America. His legs were just born the other day, and he's just jumping up and down. I mean, he's a pogo stick. You know what I mean? There's not a whole lot you can do there. I mean, obviously Brad saw something there and figured he would go with him. We started Al, which, again, goes against everything I believe in, but it didn't make much of a difference because when push came to shove, that lasted maybe 8 minutes of the whole game. Al needs to get his minutes. You know what I mean? And that's really what that is. That to me is, maybe that's a weak coaching staff as well, but that's just a sign of maybe not. I mean, whatever. Al's a pro. You don't. I don't know. I don't know what the right answer is here. Because what do you want? Al and Joe are going to have to cross paths. If Joe's going to play 37 minutes, is that mean that you think Al's going to only play 11 or 10 minutes? That's not going to happen either. We can't really rely on that happening. So they're going to have to cross paths at certain points. I get it. He started the game, but it only lasts for maybe the first 4 minutes of the game, and then it was very much just one or the other. And then at the end of the game, it was Joe. It was just Joe down the stretch. Because again, that's the most dynamic lineup. When push came to shove, it was Joe, Tease, Toby, Shake, and Josh. And it's just when you look up and down the lineup, those 4 guys are just a mark below the other 4 guys. Kemba competes on defense. Man, shout out to Kemba. He's really shown he really bought in. He just bought in to Boston. I think he knew, he almost knew what the talk was about him, surrounding him when he left Charlotte. And he got to Boston, and he's a different guy, man. He's a different guy. He's cool being the third scorer, the third banana or whatever. He doesn't care. And he fights on defense, man. He really fights. There was one good play where where Toby drove to the rim and Kemba was defending him, and Kemba didn't quite block it, but he did, the smart thing when you're on a taller player, you get the ball as it's coming up on the collect, and he got the ball on the collect, and they called the foul. I didn't think it was a foul personally, but, he did a hell of a job on it. Kemba's not going to go 0 for 4 from 3, and Kemba lights us up generally, so I don't know. I would be a little bit nervous about that. And it just the 1 through 4 guys are better than us. You know what I mean? And then they cause so much havoc on defense. We're again struggling to get to make basic passes. We are already not a good passing team, especially without Ben. And even when we had Ben getting the ball in the post wasn't necessarily the thing, because Ben is used to operating from the post. You know what I mean? So him getting a pass into the post, it wasn't even his strong suit anyway. None of these guys are good passers. They're all average passers or okay passers. And this is an above average perimeter defensive team, and it's showing. They're causing havoc. With all that said, we only lost by 8. We were right there. But again, we're a bad matchup for Boston. I want to be clear. Boston is a very good team. This is probably how I think the series is going to play out. We didn't play poorly. We didn't play poorly. We can't guard Tatum. Nobody can guard Tatum. Unfortunately, that's what he's shown over this year. No one's going to guard him. People are struggling. Jalen, really, his handle has improved so much. If you saw when he first came to the league, I mean, it's Kawhi-ish. You know what I mean? How much his handle improved. It's Kawhi-ish. Like, the way he's taken these leaps in terms of his handle and his offensive skill set, man, it's really impressive. He's taken leaps. We're not going to be able to guard him. There was one good play, and I know, again, Ala and Mark Zumoff they're just there to spread propaganda. You know what I mean? And they're like, oh, much has been made about Al Horford not being able to move his feet. There was one play, even though Ala did point this out. Let me be clear. Mark Zumoff was spreading the propaganda. Ala did correct him a little bit, because Al ended up isolated on Gordon Hayward at the top of the key, and Gordon was trying to break him down. But if you watch that clip, you see why the problem. The problem is Joe is at the rim, and he's just at the rim sitting there prowling, waiting for Gordon to make his move. Well, Gordon he can't go north to south here. There's nothing he can do. Maybe he could have tried to step back. I don't know. But Al is essentially aggressively playing that perimeter because he knows that Joe is right back there. There's nothing you're going to be able to do here. So Al played okay, but the plays that Jalen play is going to be that will be the trend going forward. I promise you. That's going to be the trend going forward. Al is not going to be able to guard these perimeter guys. You know why? Because perimeter defenders can't guard these perimeter guys. And now we're asking Al to go out there and defend them? No, it's not going to work. I promise you, it's not going to work. They're going to light that up constantly. There was a couple. I'm surprised. Let's jump to coaching for a second, because there was a couple things that Brad Stevens didn't do that I was surprised. One, they run a double high screen. They only ran it maybe 4 or 5. I mean, I could be wrong. There's just 4 or 5 times that stick in my mind that they had wide open three-pointers. Why? Well, for the same exact fucking reason, okay, that Dame went off for 50 against us. Let me explain why. The reason why he went off for 50 is just like I talked about in that podcast. It's because our defensive strategy is for our bigs to drop all the way back. Well, they run this double screen. They're open every fucking time. Gordon is a killer in the mid-range. So trust me, they're gonna exploit that more going forward. I would assume they're gonna continue to exploit that more and more. It's gonna be continued. It will continue to be a feature in their offense. I am guaranteeing that. It's gonna be a feature because it's a mismatch. It's the definition of a mismatch. Kemba is not going to continue to go to 0 for 4 when he sees wide open three-pointers every single time he comes off that double screen. They're going to run that often. I guarantee you there's too many threats out there too. So they can run that double screen with Jalen and Jason, or Gordon and Jason, or Tyson, Jalen. It doesn't matter. They're all threats. So they're going to run that, and they're going to be wide open. And our defensive strategy doesn't make any goddamn sense. So none of that is going to matter. You know what I mean? Because our guys drop to the rim. So let's talk about dropping to the fucking rim now. I don't know what the refs were thinking, and thank God for us, even though we lost the game, so it's not really thank God for us. And Daniel Tice, you may have noticed, started pointing this out at the end of the game. I don't know what took him so long to point this out. Joe was essentially just at the rim the entire game. The rule is you need to be within arm's length. If you're in the paint, you need to be within arm's length of an offensive player. Okay, you need to be within arm's length. There are multiple plays where Joe is not within arm's length of any of our players. He's not in arm's length of anybody. He's just there. That is a 5 seconds. They're going to call that. That's a defensive 5 seconds. They're going to start calling that. There was at least 3 or 4 obvious ones that I don't know why they didn't call. Well, guess what? The Celtics are 100% going to force the issue there. They're probably going to complain to the league about it. I would assume that's what most teams do. They'll complain to the league so that they can start getting those calls. They're going to complain to the league about it because if they're right. They're right. They're going to cut up video. They're going to be out there today like me, out here cutting up video and saying, hey, this asshole is not moving from the rim. And he's there alone for mad long. They're going to complain about it. That's going to be a problem going forward. I don't quite understand what the thought process was there. I don't know what the thinking is there. That's going to be a problem going forward. And yeah, and now let's talk about the end of the game. I've said this a million times. I tweeted it yesterday. I said it on the previous podcast as well. Our inability to get the ball to our best basketball player, it's reprehensible. It's disgusting. It is the worst thing. It's when you watch the Nuggets play, it's almost an afterthought at this point to watch Joker have the ball in his hands constantly. I mean, the ball is in his hands all the time. It's an afterthought at this point. It's just natural. It's like seeing the ball in LeBron's hands. It's like seeing the ball in Giannis's hands, like seeing the ball in Luka's hands. It's like seeing the ball in Donovan Mitchell's hands. It's like seeing the ball in any of these guys' hands. Okay? It's just a thing that's going to happen. Like seeing the ball in AD's hands, like seeing the ball in Cat's hands. Just a thing that's going to happen. They're the best basketball players, so they get the ball in their hands more often. Our inability to figure that out will be the death of us, and eventually will be the death of Brett Brown. I'm sorry, Brett, but you got to fuck out of here. You can't find any creative way to get the ball to your best basketball player. Jim Lynam said it well, except that the problem, here's the problem, Jim. I'm going to explain this. Jim Lynam used to say that Barkley used to tell his point guards, just throw the ball up and let me go get it, right? And Barkley was this above average athlete with hands of metal. Well, Joe's hands are not hands of metal. We discussed that on the last podcast. So I don't know if I like the idea of just throwing the ball up for Joe when we know he's going to fall on the way down. He's just going to fall. It's what he does. But the point is, we can't throw a successful entry pass. We don't run any type of screens at the high post that can get him the ball in a position where he can go dominate. I mean, we have nothing. We don't offer anything. We ran those 2 good plays at the beginning of the game. Remember I mentioned that? One that Al did good and one that Al fucked up? And we didn't run those 2 fucking plays again. We didn't run that play again for the rest of the game. That was the end of it. Not even down the stretch. We need a bucket, and we can't fucking find a way to get the ball to Joe. I mean, it's embarrassing. That shit is an embarrassment. It's embarrassing when everybody sees it. That's what's actually ultra embarrassing about it. Everyone fucking saw it. You're seeing tweets from people who are not Sixers fans talking about it. That's fucking embarrassing. It wasn't embarrassing when Charles Barkley and Shaq, and I mentioned this on those podcasts too, after that Clippers game. Oh, Joe's got to go out and dominate, blah, 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 whatever, right? Talking all this dumb shit. When meanwhile, it's like they didn't watch the game because they're not seeing that we're not making any effort to get the ball to him. So they're talking shit, but they don't realize that for some reason. That was less embarrassing because the national narrative, they had no idea. Well, once the national narrative picks up on things, the national narrative is fucking stupid as shit. They're blind and dumb. They don't know what's going on half the time on most of these games because they don't watch most of the games. They don't watch. Even me, I watch a lot of games, and I try not to make sweeping accusations of things because I don't watch every single game. So I need more information before I can make a true assessment on a team, right? Well, I've seen every Sixers game, and I know exactly what our biggest problem is. We can't fucking find a way to get the ball to the best basketball player on our team. It's fucking embarrassing. It's embarrassing. The national narrative has now picked it up because they're watching them in the playoffs. Hey, this is weird. This guy is their best basketball player, yet they haven't fed him the ball for 12, 13 possessions. That's weird, kind of, isn't it, guys? Isn't it? Isn't it? Alec Burks apparently is going to shoot all the shots today. That's weird. That's a fucking problem, man. I'm sorry, Brett. You're not going to survive this. You shouldn't, at least. No one in the front office should survive this. Let me be fucking clear real quick. It's probably, and I don't want to jump off the fence here about blowing up this team because of this one game. I want to blow up this fucking team because I'm sick of it. Because I'm sick of watching this bullshit. I wish so badly with all the bones in my heart. There's no bones in my heart. I'm sorry. With all the bones in my body, that we could fucking go back to before the Jimmy trade, before the Toby trade, before all the trades, before the Shake trade, all of it. All of it. Because you're telling me I'd rather have Mikal Bridges on this team. I'd rather have Cove on this team, which again is a miracle for anyone to have heard me say those words, or not words I ever say. I'd rather have Cove on this team. I'd rather have Dario as our backup center, who plays backup center pretty often actually for the Suns because Aaron Baines was out. I'd rather have Dario play our backup center. Good playmaker. Can do things. I'd rather have JJ back on this team. And Ben. And Mikal. And all those guys. Give me Fultz back. Whatever. Give me Fultz. I'd rather have him back. He could run an offense. I've seen him dump passes in the post. I see him get the ball to the post. He knows how to throw an entry pass. Can break down defenders off the dribble. Yeah, his shot is fucked up still. But I'd rather have him back. I mean, this shit is a mess, man. This team is a fucking mess. And you know what the scary thing, the only way to really fix this fucking team is going to be trading Ben. It's going to be the only way you can fix this team because he's the only chip of value here. You're going to trade Josh for nothing. Josh's value is in the dump right now. No one's really out there looking for Josh, not for anything important. If you're trading Ben, it's because you're trading him for a point guard who can shoot. You know what I mean? Who can spread the floor a little bit. I don't know what that trade is. I don't know who that person is. You know what I mean? Malcolm Brogdon would have been the person we should have signed in the offseason when we were stupidly trying to court out dumbass Horford. We should have been signing Malcolm Brogdon. But we fucked that up already. We fucked that up. I don't know what the answer is. I don't know what the answer is. I don't know who you could trade Ben for even if you wanted to. You know, maybe it's just for a perimeter guy, but the problem is we don't have any point guards. You know what I mean? I don't know what the answer is. I think about this constantly. Maybe would the Trailblazers consider giving up C.J. McCollum for Ben because they is too many chefs in the kitchen, and Ben offers a guy who can, one, move Dame off the ball, but two, can just be on causing havoc on defense. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I just know that the front office fucked this roster up. I mean, really just fucked it up. Brett, the coach, has no idea how to coach this fucked up roster. And we're just wasting Joel's life away is what's happening right now. We're just wasting his poor career away. He's also injured all the time. But with that said, we're wasting his career away because when he's healthy, we don't take advantage of it. So I don't know what the answer is. I mean, it's embarrassing. I'm sick of watching this shit. I'm just sick of that. It's one thing to lose because you lost, because it's just a better team you're playing against. It's another thing to lose when you're shooting yourself in the foot for dumb fucking reasons. That's fucking frustrating. Listen, I said we were going to lose the series. I shouldn't be this angry, you would think. Except I knew that we would lose this series, and the reason why was going to be because we're going to get outcoached, because we can't find ways to get the ball to Joe when it matters. I mean, it's maddening. It's maddening. How are you going to go out and say that Joe is the focal point of the offense, but you can never prove it? You can't prove that to be the case because you don't ever make the fucking effort to actually make that happen. It's frustrating, man. It's frustrating. Watching Brett coach, what are things that I'd rather watch? I'd rather watch Two Girls, One Cup than watch Brett coach. Yeah, I brought that back. That's disgusting. That's disgusting. But I'd rather. Watching Brett coach is one of the worst. It's a nightmare at this point. Like when I have my worst nightmares, it's Brett calling a timeout 12 seconds in to the shot clock and me waking up in a sweat because I don't understand what just happened. I don't know what happened. So anyway, game 2 tomorrow. I think I could see us winning tomorrow's game. For what? I don't know. We're gonna get out coached by everybody else in the playoffs. You have the worst coach. We have the worst coach in the playoffs. So, everyone, wash your hands, wear a mask, arrest the cops who killed Breonna Taylor. Black Lives Matter. Blueprint Barber Lounge. CJ Wendler, stay cool. R.I.P. Bowler. That's it. Everyone take care. I'm sorry for being depressed. I'm going to be happy next time. I promise. Probably not. All right, everyone. Be safe out there.
Yeah. Yeah. Justice for the blind. Just something that'll find in the rhymes that are coming from my mind. Used to come